Hello, amazing fellow humans. My name is Bianca Lewis, also known as Bia C.Y.B.E.R in the hacker community. And if you haven't met me before, I will blab about myself, of course. The general topic of this AMA can go in any direction everyone wants, but I wanted to have some time to have a conversation about careers in cybersecurity. My general pathway was very unorthodox, if I'm being honest. So I started very, very young. When I was in kindergarten or first grade, I started programming in Scratch, and then from there learned Python. My dad saw how obsessed I was with computers and solving problems and puzzles, so he started taking me to different cybersecurity conferences. And when I mean a lot of cybersecurity conferences, he took me to a lot of them. And by going to these different conferences, I met like-minded individuals. There weren't a lot of kids and definitely not a lot of girls, sadly. But I was still able to connect with all of these people who have a similar passion to me, which in the end is why I ended up also working in cybersecurity. So from the age of 11 is when I started presenting at conferences. I would see people do talks and workshops and classes about all these interesting subjects. And I was just learning stuff, but I figured there has to be people who don't know this yet or know it the way that I know it. So I started teaching. My very first class I ever taught was how to send secret messages to your friend without the teacher finding out. Yes, I was a bit of a mischievous kid, but straight A's, I will say. And over that time, I taught the other kids my age how to encrypt messages and decrypt messages using different codes like the Caesar cipher and ROT13 and Pigpen, and I was obsessed with teaching. Generally, I've always been a very social, very extroverted person. I will say as I've gotten older, I am a bit more introverted and I do love my me time, but there's nothing I love better than teaching in cybersecurity. And after going to a bunch of classes and more things in the cybersecurity field and doing more presentations at conferences, I noticed there was a lack of girls and women in cybersecurity specifically. There's a lot of girls and women in STEM in general, yes. There's a lot in like programming and software development, but not enough in cybersecurity specifically, which is why I decided to change things up and start Girls Who Hack, which is my nonprofit where I teach girls the skills of hacking so that they can change the future. Over this time period, I was able to teach, I would say definitely in the thousands for sure, thousands of girls, different cybersecurity skills, everything from intro to cyber or things that are more soft skill focused, such as presenting or writing a good resume. So that's definitely a big part of my career path. And alongside that, I've never lost my passion for public speaking. I've spoken at Black Hat, MIA, Middle East Africa. I've spoken at DEF CON multiple times, which is one of the world's largest hacker conferences here in Vegas. I've spoken at A Million B-Sides. I've spoken at Hope, one of the world's oldest hacker conferences. And it's just been amazing and given me so many different career opportunities. And I've met so many insane people. I'm talking C-level executives and CEOs and millionaires of giant companies, not just tech companies, because all companies use technology in one way or another and need to secure it. So I've also had an internship for IBM with their X-Force Red, which is their elite cybersecurity penetration testing and consulting team. I run a official youth track at DEF CON. I'm on quite a few different advisory boards advising people on their cybersecurity practices, as well as their youth practices, whether they're educators or a giant business trying to educate people. And it's just allowed me to learn so much. And my career path has been very different than most. But one thing's for sure, I've learned quite a bit. Okay, looks like we got a question. If I am in school now, how can I prepare for being work ready in cyber? Okay, so you're definitely thinking about how I started pretty young, right? I've mentored quite a few girls with Girls Who Hack specifically, where I've taught them how to be a thing in the cybersecurity community and be prepared no matter what job they want in tech, and even if it ends up not being a tech job. So my top tips, especially if you don't have like supportive parents, or you don't have all the most resources, is if your school does have a tech club or a tech lab or even a robotics club, maybe a coding club, join it. If they don't have one, start one. That's really big. There's also a ton of online clubs that you could join as well. If you join an online club or an online community, there's different like Discord communities, such as the Hacking Games community. Then you can learn from other people, ask questions to other people, and even end up working on projects together that will not only build your future portfolio, resume, college application, blah, 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 but it will also give you the actual skills required for so many things, because you're going to work in a team or with people eventually in one way or another. So by working in a robotics team, you know what it's like to pass ideas back and forth between people, how it is to resolve things, how it is to have someone overstep you. And by taking that time to join a community, you are then able to build your technical skills and your soft skills, which will be marketable in the future. So if your school, again, in recap, if your school has a club or a group you can join it. If one doesn't exist, get the bravery to create one. And that's scary, but I'm sure you can think of at least one other person in your class that also has a passion for cybersecurity that you can connect with and start something with. And it will grow over time. And who knows, maybe you can bring everyone together and do a CTF competition, or create a website, or create a small business. There's a lot of things that can branch off of doing something that seems small. Because by building a network when you're young, even if it's with peers your age, you are then able to have connections as you grow. While you're young, also try to join different cybersecurity conferences like I did, if you have the ability and resources to. I will say, at least in the US, there are a ton of different tech, STEM, and cybersecurity related conferences all around. Most notably, I will mention B-Sides. B-Sides happens all around the world, right? And it also happens in just about every state and city you can think of in the US, and it's very affordable. So if you're able to go to there and go to these conferences, you can meet people and network in that same way. And most of the time, they're very affordable, or kids go for free, or you can go on a scholarship. It's pretty great. Do you have any tips for networking for someone who is not naturally outgoing? Okay. Again, guilty. I am an outgoing person. So don't be like, Bianca, you can't tell us anything because you're an extrovert. You don't understand the struggle. I may be extroverted, yes, but I have imposter syndrome up the wazoo. And if you don't know what imposter syndrome is, and you probably still have struggled with it, imposter syndrome is where you don't feel like you have the skills, talent, or knowledge that you actually do. You feel like you're an imposter in a certain field. So maybe you want to be an artist, but you're looking at your painting and you're looking at other people's paintings and you're like, that's not really great. So because of this imposter syndrome, it's given me a layer of introvertedness. So how exactly can someone network when they feel that way? The best way to do it is by keeping in mind when you are in a room full of people, the people who are at your level or beneath you, the people beneath you, not like you're better than them, but beneath you as in they don't have as much experience as you or knowledge as you, which knowledge and experience grows. You were once them. So talking to them, you can give them advice and connect with them that way. Someone at your level, you're at the same level. You can connect with the fact that you want to grow in this direction, they want to grow in this direction, how are you two going to do it, etc. And then how do you connect and network with people who are important people, such as C-level executives or managers or people who are hiring? Because those are the people you really want to go after, right? And those are probably the scariest people to go after. What I'm going to tell you as someone who is generally close-ish to that level and has spoken to hundreds upon hundreds of people at that level, other than be yourself, because being yourself is important, remember that unless they are a complete and total asshole, which there are some, you're going to run into assholes, there is nothing people at that level want to do more than to support the next generation. Nothing they would rather do. A lot of the times when I teach classes or go to conferences, people will come up to me and ask questions or ask for advice. But if there's like a room of 100 people, only like maybe 8 people will. If there's a room of 20 people, maybe 1 or 2, right? The thing that makes you stand out is not the fact that like you're a confident person and you know exactly what you're saying and you don't stutter. If you do those things, it's okay, it's natural, it's human, you'll work on it naturally over time. But the fact that you have enough passion to just go up and try to talk to someone sets you apart. Do you think getting a computer science degree is needed to get a job in cyber? That's a good question. And that's one of my most asked questions. I've had people of all ages, of all backgrounds come to me and say, do I need a degree in computer science? Do I need to go to college? Do I need to get certifications? Do I need to do what do I need to do to work in cybersecurity? I hate to give this answer, but I am going to say it depends. But I'm not just going to leave you with that because I'm not mean. What I am going to say is that there are steps to see if you need something or you don't need something. So for me, I'm not a completely technical person and I don't have, I'm 18, so I don't have a college degree yet, but I'm working towards it. And I don't really have like a lot of technical certifications. And I'm going for a cybersecurity degree, not a computer science degree, which is a bit different. But the cybersecurity field is so vast and so different based on where you're sitting that it requires completely different mindset, skills, technical ability, etc. So generally, if you have an idea of, I want to work with something to do with networking, I want to work with something to do with websites, I want to work with something to do with, let's say, I don't know, AI or digital forensics. Look on LinkedIn and find someone with the job you want. Find 10 people, find 20. Go in their resume and see what they have and see what all of those things have in common. Oh, it seems all of these people have this degree to this level. It seems all of these people have these certifications. And by going from there, you're able to see, okay, this is what I need and this is how I'm going to get it. Or reach out to those people on LinkedIn, as scary as that may seem, but reach out to them and ask them, I want your job. Do you think it's worth my time to spend the time and get this degree? Or should I focus on something else? And they will give you the honest answer, because they might sit there and say, it was a waste of time, it was a waste of money, it was a waste of resources, and then you're able to see, okay, I won't make the same mistake they did, and I will focus on these things instead. speaking of certifications, if you're looking to get different certifications, those also depend what you want to do. But I think the top two I would recommend if you want a general job in cybersecurity and don't know exactly what yet, get your CompTIA Network Plus, because that's all the basics of like networking, and almost everything to do with computers has to do with networking in one way or another, no matter what you do. And then your CompTIA Security Plus, because that covers most of the basics in cybersecurity. Okay, what experiences that aren't certs would you recommend doing to make you stand out? Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to start answering this question off with a little story time. So I went to the KPMG CISO Summit. So this Chief Information Security Officers of a bunch of really big companies, and I'm not allowed to say which ones, but when I mean big, I mean really big, were there. And I asked them all, what do you look for in a good cybersecurity candidate? So this is the answers you're looking for, because these are what the big companies and the best of the best actually want. They said any old Joe can get a certification. Any old Joe can get a degree, right? Of course, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. I'm not saying it's easy by any means. But what really sets someone apart is their projects. So I encourage you to do projects. A project could be working on a website, working on a tool, maybe something hardware related. It could even be something light and silly, like a light up dress. Like once I made a light up dress with NeoPixel LEDs that had an Arduino controlling it via knobs that changed like the speed of the lights and the colors, and the like brightness of the lights, all within a purse. Everything was hidden in a purse. Like that was a cool project. A project one of my friends did that was a bit more scientific and technical is they programmed this Raspberry Pi with a bunch of different add-ons and additions to it that would measure things when they sent a weather balloon up into the sky. And the weather balloon goes really, really high. And we're able to collect important data that related to some other things. And by doing that project, some people reached out to them and were able to connect with him and give him opportunities he didn't have before. On top of doing projects, and projects can be any problem you want to solve, doesn't have to be super technical, but also try to do CTFs, which are like capture the flag puzzle games, which can be online or in person. By participating in those, you show you have certain skills. And also participate in workshops, live ones, in-person ones, online ones. And doing these things shows you are well-rounded. Because again, everyone applying to that job is probably going to have the certifications and the degree. The projects, the CTFs, and all of that is what sets you out. Okay? Let's see, got another message from Mr. Wally. Hi! Hi, Bianca. Hi. Thanks so much for doing this. I try. Hoping to get my first IT job soon. I'm hoping for you too, fingers crossed. And take that route into cybersecurity. Do you have any advice for what to focus on in an entry IT role to get into cybersecurity? Okay. Entry IT role. I mentioned this before, but knowing networking, not like social networking, though that's important, I mean computer networking, is the basis of a whole lot of things, especially related to cybersecurity. Because when you do a lot of cybersecurity for big companies, everything's connected to the network and you want to work within the network. So my job for you is to try to talk with the networking team, socialize with them. While you're in that position, also get any networking certifications you can think of. And by starting with that and having that knowledge of how the system in general works, you're then able to shift gears into cybersecurity because that's sort of what everything's based upon. Also, in one way or another, you're going to interact with the company's cybersecurity team, make friends with them, and ask how they started off and how they switched into that position. Because a lot of the times people don't start their role in cybersecurity. They do start in IT like you, or they start in some other branch of the company and are able to like branch off from that, right? And if you ask the other people who are in that position, how did you get to that position? Even if they worked in a previous job and switched from there, if you follow their pathway and match that, then you'll know exactly what that company wants you to do as well, even if they don't directly say that to you. That's like the biggest piece of advice I can get, other than learn more about networking and of course learn about cybersecurity, which I'm sure you're already doing because you're interested in it. Networking is the base foundation for a lot of cybersecurity things. Even if you want to work in like web application hacking and pen testing or Wi-Fi hacking or anything it may be, everything's connected to the network. It's crazy. It's like the web. It's pretty funny. But that, I think, would be my biggest piece of advice. So hopefully that helps you. And if you have any more follow-up questions to that or need any specific mentorship or anything, reach out to me. And this goes to everyone. Reach out to me. I am Bia C.Y.B.E.R. That's BIASCILAB on every social media platform you can think of. You can look up Bia C.Y.B.E.R. on my website. You can look up Bia C.Y.B.E.R. at gmail.com. Send me an email. I'm happy to respond and give you any more advice. Okay? Do you have any interview tips? Ooh, okay. I love interviews and being interviewed. I've been interviewed for a million positions, a million different ways. Whether that's an interview because they want to talk to me for a podcast or an interview for an internship position. I've had like 3 internships in my lifetime, or an interview for an actual job. All of these things share one main thing in common, and the thing that makes you stand out the most and makes people want to hire you, talk to you, and trust you is your passion. If you want to work in cybersecurity, I mean, cybersecurity has some great benefits. It's an amazing field, but it's hard, it's tiring, and a lot of the times it's pretty thankless. So you definitely have to have some passion for this field in order to want to work in this field. In an interview, even a professional one where you enter in with your suit and tie, you have to show that you're passionate in whatever you're discussing. It's one thing to memorize and reflect on your experiences and do all of those things that Google will tell you, or any other YouTube video telling you how to be interviewed will tell you. And I don't want to give you just the basic advice you can find anywhere. So I'm going to say this: show your passion through when you talk. Right now I'm under the weather. I'm super sick. I mentioned that. But as you can see, even though I have like a horrible fever and I'm not feeling great, you can still see my passion for the subject. You can see how I'm still carrying myself in a conversation, even if I'm not directly talking to anyone. You can see how I'm still emphasizing my points without being over the top or irrational or irresponsible with my words and language. You can see how I'm emphasizing things without talking way too fast or stumbling over my words or doing anything like that. Because even if you are not secure in yourself and you don't have self-confidence, you know what you know and you know what you've done. You've lived your life. You know that project you worked on and what you did. You know that certification and how you got it. You lived these experiences. You, in an interview, are not just trying to market yourself. You are stating facts. And the way in which you state these facts is very important. So the passion behind your words and the directness in which you say them is so important. And even my most introverted cybersecurity friends of all ages, backgrounds, etc., when they talk about what they love and they're passionate, a lot of the self-doubt and a lot of the stuttering and other things just go away. So in an interview, focus on passion and focus on what you know. Because you know what you know. They don't know what you know. So you're just telling them what you know. Okay, let's see. As a parent, how do I support my child in getting into cybersecurity? Okay. I feel like my parents would probably better answer this question. And I myself am not a parent. I do have fur babies, if that counts. But I am not a parent. However, I will say I have taught many, many girls, mentored many, many girls, and myself was a child prodigy to some degree. The best advice I can give when wanting to teach them tech and cybersecurity related things is to give them a visual outlet for what they're learning. So get this. If you want them to learn something, like you want them to learn Python, let's say, which is a very basic programming language, you, in your adult head, probably think, it's so cool to have this computer program print "Hello World" back to me when I write this script. They're not going to think that's cool. I mean, look at the technology they have access to right now. It's cool to you because you realize you didn't have that when you were younger. But look at what they have now that they're younger. They have VR goggles. They have AI. They have meta glasses. They have insane technology all around them. So you have to match that energy. Now, how exactly do you do that? Some of the ways that I kind of started off that I want to build off of this too, if you want to teach them general programming, have them learn Scratch. So Scratch is a block-based programming language that's easy to understand, but it's almost like building your own video game. Because you have Scratch the cat, which is your little character, you can make other little characters, and you can make them interact with each other. Now, that teaches them programming concepts while also having that visual aid that makes it like, look, I did something. I made a game. And a lot of kids love games, so there you go. Rather than, here's some code on a screen. Another way is to sign them up for basic kids CTFs. There's a lot of capture the flags out there that are different bases in which they're made. So there's web application CTFs that focus on like vulnerable web application hacking, and then there's ones that are focused on like terminal hacking and network hacking and all of that. And to that I say things like web application hacking and CTFs focused on things that are more visual and puzzle based, they're going to care about that a lot more. And though challenges are good, make sure to pick challenges that can be solved quickly and easily at first, to have them build that confidence. It's like with learning math. If you put them with division first, because you're like, division's so cool, they're going to be confused. You have to start with addition, then subtraction, then multiplication, then get to division and fractions and blah, blah, blah. So you can't just throw them into the deep end. The third thing, and the last thing I'm going to mention for this, is definitely to bring them to conferences. There's a lot of youth STEM-related conferences and events and museums all around. So rather than being like, let's spend a day together and learn, when they're like, you're so not cool, mom and dad, I don't want to do that. If you bring them somewhere where other kids are playing and learning, they're going to want to play and learn too, because then that's the cool thing. In order to teach a kid, you need to think like a kid. It's not about what you think they should learn, but about what situation they would learn in the best, I believe. At least that's where it's worked for me, and that's what's helped me the most. I was never the most technical kid. I personally don't really like programming, but after trying a bunch of different things, and thank you, Mom and Dad, for making me try a bunch of different things in the tech field, I found my niches, I found my passions, and I found out I love speaking and teaching. So don't be discouraged if your kid doesn't like blank, because maybe they'll like blank. or maybe they'll like blank. You just have to tell them that cybersecurity and tech and STEM in general has so many branches and sub-branches and different people that are needed with different skills, and there's a place for everyone, including them. What's the most useless advice you got when you were trying to break into cybersecurity? Oh, jeez. Oof. Okay. I had quite a few snobby nose, annoying sticklers, usually old people, usually white old men, who gave me this advice, whether that was online and I read it on like a LinkedIn article, or whether that was in person after they saw me doing a presentation. And they all told me to be more professional, or to be more put together, or to like, refine my image and be more technical. However, anytime I tried to lean into that, I lost sight of myself, and I didn't take full advantage of opportunities that I could have out of fear of not being professional enough. There are some situations where you do have to be professional, but you need to also understand to what degree you're going to be professional. Because is it appropriate to interrupt someone while they're presenting on stage with a question in the middle of their presentation? No. If there's question portion at the end, can you ask a question? Yes. But it's also appropriate, and it feels like it's not, but it's also appropriate to go and meet up with them afterwards and have a conversation with them. And a lot of the times I would think it's not appropriate because this person is famous. This person is a politician. I've met a lot of politicians before. This person is a blank, blank, blank. But the truth of the matter is, if you're so worried about coming off as professional, whether that be in your resume or in your LinkedIn profile or on your social media or all of that, you're just going to end up looking like everyone else. My image is unique, and my personal branding is unique. I am fun, I am bubbly, I love color, I'm not scared of color. When I do my professional talks on exclusive stages in front of really important people, I will still stay true to myself and wear something fun. I will wear my hair in buns. I will wear a neon orange dress that is still covering and is still respectful in shape, but it's fun. And it's me. And I listened for too long to people who are like, oh, hide yourself away, box yourself in, make everything boring. But now at this point, it's like, at the end of all my resumes and all my professional emails, even to really important, famous people or politicians, I always end things off with a smiley face. People will say, no, that's not proper, that's not professional. But it makes you stand out. It makes you unique. And as long as it's generally respectful and good, then you're doing everything okay. So don't get too caught up in these people online and in person telling you, you need to be blah, 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 blah. Robot, robot, robot. You're not a robot. Stand out in whatever way makes you you. What's the biggest difference between the hacker scene online and the corporate cybersecurity world IRL? Oof. Okay. There's a big difference between the hacker community online, which it's very big online, / in person, and the cybersecurity community, like the professional one, online / in person. And I think a lot of it is professionalism in the sense of what they focus on. Both groups have good intentions, right? Not all hackers are bad. No, most hackers are good, and most hackers are securing you and your systems actively day to day. So don't hate on hackers. So obviously they have great intentions and stuff, but if you go to a hacker online community, people will have crazy names. If you go to a hacker conference, people have neon spiky hair and be wearing a glittery crop top and a giant tutu and crazy combat boots, and will be dancing around while also hacking and having fun and trading stickers, all while talking about the important subjects of cybersecurity and digital awareness and AI and all these other things that these IRL cybersecurity professional people are talking about. And these IRL professional cybersecurity people are talking about the same subjects, but in a different setting. So a lot of the times, these people's focus is more individually focused than the hackers are. So the hackers care more for the giant big picture of how do we secure everything. And then people in corporate cybersecurity focus more, how can we keep our company safe? How can our product keep companies safe? And they think of things more like governance and policy, and they focus more on professionalism and professional connections and doing things the proper way, right? Which is why you a lot of times see hacker movies being portrayed as cyberpunk and being seen as like futuristic and totally insane in a sense where the world looks like a whole different world than ours. But then you watch a movie or something portraying the actual cybersecurity field and the tech field, and that's when you see everything turn corporate and turn minimalistic, where everything's white and sleek and smooth tech design. I think that's the big sort of energy difference between them. And there's a lot of overlap between each, and I fit into both categories. It's important if you work in cybersecurity to fit into and be comfortable with both and play both sides. How do you do that? Go to more professional tech conferences, such as Black Hat, which is known as a professional tech conference. And there's a bunch of others that are more like career focused. That would be that side. And then there's things like B-Sides and Hope, which are meant for like the fun, radical, let's change the world side of cybersecurity. Okay, last question. Last question. No pressure, Bia. What is your number one piece of advice for anyone wanting to get work ready in cybersecurity? Oh my goodness. Let me see. Let me pick one. Let me pick my big one. Okay. Last piece of advice. Pick your pillars wisely. There are two pillars if you want to work in the cybersecurity field. There's the technical pillar and there's the personal pillar. The technical pillar includes things such as certifications, workshops, things such as degrees, such as networking, etc. The personal pillar includes things such as personal branding, networking, personal projects, building your own online blog, your own online brand, all of those things. And some people are stronger in one side or the other. Some people are more technically capable, and some people are more personality capable for the tech field. For example, Marco Librial, who is another member of the Hacking Games, he is a little younger than me, and he is absolutely epic. He's done so many crazy cool things in the cybersecurity field, and he is a very technical person. 100% knows a million more things than me. His mind will go a million miles an hour. It's very impressive, right? So his technical pillar, is a lot higher than his other pillar, because this is what he's good at, this is what he's focused at. And this is why he does still speak at conferences, he does still do social appearances, but his passion and what he's working towards is he works in like penetration testing, and he's working in very technical things and personal privacy and safety. For me, my personal pillar is a lot stronger than my technical pillar. Does that mean I can't work in cybersecurity? No. that means since my personal things are stronger, like I'm stronger at networking, I'm stronger at building a personal brand, I'm stronger at marketing myself, I'm stronger at teaching, I'm able to work in positions such as consulting. I'm able to work in positions such as teaching, like I mentioned. I would be a good manager because these things require technical knowledge. Yes, it's important to have technical knowledge, but ultimately, the focus of these career paths have to do with social skills. So, in your free time in the next while, I want you to balance out your pillars and think, what am I stronger with? And what do I want to get stronger at? You need to have strengths in both. You can't survive if you have nothing here. You can't survive if you have nothing here. So if you notice a giant gap, you're going to have to raise one or the other. But if you see your strengths and your passions lie in your technical abilities, then focus on finding a job in the cybersecurity field that maybe requires you to just work at home or requires you to be very technically capable or technically active and able to get a lot of new certifications. And if you're a more social person and your technical abilities are lower, definitely try to gain more technical abilities, but try to find a job that allows you to do what you're good at and what you're passionate at, like I did. So no matter which of your pillars seems to be bigger or stronger to you, don't feel sad or insecure that the other one is lower. It's just naturally what's going to happen. Just see how big the distance between them is and try to balance them out at least a little bit, and you will 100% succeed in this field. So I wish you the best of luck. And again, if you have any questions for me, please reach out. I am Bia C.Y.B.E.R on all platforms. That's BIASCILAB. Social media, website, email, reach out to me and ask questions. And again, don't be afraid to reach out. Not enough people reach out to people on LinkedIn or social media or anywhere to actually ask them questions. And I am 100% here to help you. Hopefully my advice today made sense. Hopefully some of it clicked. You probably knew some of it already, but maybe you learned something new. And thank you for joining me. Everyone have a happy rest of fall and a happy almost winter. Thank you.